Wikileaks has never had to print a retraction. Ever.
Ever.
That's just the way it is, folks. We're just telling it the way it is. You can make your own conclusions from there, but the truth is laid bare right here for you.
And beyond that, if he broke the law, minimally as it would be, here's what Howard Zinn has to say. Protest beyond the law is not a departure from democracy. It is absolutely essential to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's essential because when you have laws that make it illegal to boycott Israel, or you have thousands of people listening if you say one anti-Semitic word, and they have laws against protesters now, and they're criminalizing protesters, guess what you have to do? You have to break the law, in the words of Howard Zinn. And the bottom line is Assange and Snowden and these men realized the real law that was being broken. They've put a defense. They put a fence around themselves to protect themselves. So you've got to break through many barriers to get the truth out.
Let me just give you this. This was an art. They talked about this on the Today Show this morning. This was an article that was originally published by Bloomberg on April 10th. This is by Matt Day, Giles Turner, and Natalia Drozdiak. Listen to this. If you've got a smart speaker, you better listen. You better listen real good to this. Tens of millions of people use smart speakers and their voice software to play games, find music, or trawl for trivia. Millions more are reluctant to invite the devices and their powerful microphones into their homes out of concern that someone might be listening. Sometimes someone is. Amazon.com Incorporated employs thousands of people around the world to help improve the Alexa digital assistant powering its line of Echo speakers. The team listens to voice recordings captured in Echo owners' homes and offices. The recordings are transcribed, annotated, and then fed back into the software as part of an effort to eliminate gaps in Alexa's understanding of human speech and help it better respond to commands. The Alexa voice review process, described by 7 people who have worked on the program, highlights the often overlooked human role in training software algorithms. In marketing materials, Amazon says Alexa, quote, lives in the cloud and is always getting smarter, end of quote. But like many software tools built to learn from experience, humans are doing some of the teaching. The team comprises a mix of contractors and full-time Amazon employees who work in outposts from Boston to Costa Rica, India, and Romania, according to the people who signed non-disclosure agreements barring them from speaking publicly about the program. They work 9 hours a day, with each reviewer parsing as many as 1,000 audio clips per shift. That, according to 2 workers based at Amazon's Bucharest office, which takes up the top 3 floors of the Globalworth building in the Romanian capital's up-and-coming Pepera district. The modern facility stands out amid the crumbling infrastructure and bears no exterior sign advertising Amazon's presence. The work is mostly mundane. One worker in Boston said he accumulated voice data for specific utterances such as Taylor Swift and annotated them to indicate the searcher meant the musical artist. Occasionally, the listeners pick up things Echo owners likely would rather stay private. A woman singing badly off-key in the shower, say, or a child screaming for help. The teams use internal chat rooms to share files when they need help parsing a muddled word or come across an amusing recording. Sometimes they hear recordings they find upsetting or possibly criminal. 2 of the workers said they picked up what they believe was a sexual assault. When something like that happens, they may share the experience in the internal chat room as a way of relieving stress. Amazon says it has procedures in place for workers to follow when they hear something distressing, but 2 Romania-based employees said that after requesting guidance for such cases, they were told that it wasn't Amazon's job to interfere. An Amazon spokesman said in an emailed statement, quote, we take the security and privacy of our customers' personal information seriously. We only annotate an extremely small sample of Alexa voice recordings in order to improve the customer experience. For example, this information helps us train our speech recognition and natural language understanding systems so Alexa can better understand your requests and ensure the service works well for everyone. We have strict technical and operational safeguards and have a zero-tolerance policy for the abuse of our system. Employees do not have direct access to information that can identify the person or account as part of this workflow. All information is treated with high confidentiality, and we use multi-factor authentication to restrict access, service encryption, and audits of our control environment to protect it. End of quote. Amazon in its marketing and privacy policy materials doesn't explicitly say humans are listening to recordings of some conversations picked up by Alexa. The company says in a list of frequently asked questions, quote, "We use your request to Alexa to train our speech recognition and natural language understanding systems." End of quote. By the way, you do have ways you can turn that off, and you can just do a Google search and you can find that anywhere. I would suggest not using the voice-activated recognition. I tell you what, Jay, there is no way in hell I would ever buy one of these devices.
No.
Never.
No.
Because we've seen what the government can do. They hack into stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
Well, I just think we need to remind the listeners and our scores of stations out there. You know, this is a man that gave us graphic video of a U.S. Apache helicopter killing Iraqi civilians, journalists, and children. This is a man that gave us 90,000 pages of military memos that showed the Taliban and the Pakistani government were in regular contact and that civilian casualties were far greater than the USA officially acknowledged. This is a guy that gave us 400,000 pages of documents about the war in Iraq, including revelations of over 100,000 unreported civilian deaths and brutal reprisals by Iraqi forces. Diplomatic cables that showed a wide gulf between the U.S. public positions and private analysis. In 2016, WikiLeaks released hacked emails from Podesta, Clinton campaign chairman, which unmasked various bad faith dealings within the Democratic Party establishment. Why this man should be an enemy is a marvel to me. Absolute, unbelievable marvel. But in 2017, director of the FBI then, James Comey, said that WikiLeaks trafficked in public intelligence porn. Pompeo, who was then the CIA director and now Secretary of State, went so far as to condemn Assange and WikiLeaks, calling them enemies of the state. Quote, "We can no longer allow Julian Assange and his colleagues the latitude to use free speech values against us," Pompeo declared. He's saying, we're not going to allow free speech to speak critically against the government. That's pretty damn clear. Pompeo declared at the Center for Strategic International Studies, quote, "To give them the space to crush us with misappropriated secrets is a perversion of what our great Constitution stands for." That's the Secretary of State. Such talk was reminiscent of the Wall Street Journal, which called Assange an enemy of the U.S. who should face the death penalty. That was the Wall Street Journal. I'm out of breath, and I'm almost out of heart.
And I want to mention, too, we've been talking about Assange, but 45 years ago, there were a pair of journalists that were also working on exposing the truth. Their names, Bob Woodward, Carl Bernstein, the investigative journalist at the Washington Post back in the early 70s, who exposed Watergate and Nixon. Guess where they ended up? They ended up on Nixon's enemies list. I have the list right here.
Yeah. But you know there was a hero before them that they wouldn't have had a chance.
Yeah.
You know who he was, don't you? Deep Throat. You know who he was?
Yeah.
Nobody knows who he is. He's just a guy that says, I'm going to spill the beans. His name is Mark Felt.
Yeah. Former FBI agent.
Without that whistleblowing, he didn't write a book. He's not going to go down in history. Without that, Bernstein and Woodward wouldn't have had a story. And Nixon had gone down. Who knows where he'd have gone and what road he'd taken us down. But it took him risking his life to go to a parking garage and open a can of worms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are whistleblowers. Those are people that give a damn.
Exactly. These are the people you should be holding up to honor.
That's right. Not licking your chops, waiting how much punishment we can dole out to a guy who, by the way, it's been proven there was no sexual attack in Sweden. That was all a trumped-up charge. That was dissolved.
No pun intended there.
Actually, I did.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got more that we want to talk about. This is something that should be scaring the hell out of people, and that is all these states that are starting to sign fetal heartbeat bills. and there's quite a few of them. North and South Dakota, which kind of surprised me because you don't think southern states. But then again, let's take a look here. I want to read this. This is from CBS News. Out of Columbus, Ohio, a bill imposing one of the most stringent abortion restrictions in the nation was signed into law in Ohio. Republican Governor Mike DeWine signed the heartbeat bill Thursday, breaking with his predecessor, Republican John Kasich, who vetoed the measure twice. Ohio's closely divided politics has slowed the progress of the bill as it has caught momentum elsewhere, forcing years of debate in the state where the bill originated. I'm going to skip around a little bit. DeWine's action came a day after the latest version of the bill, which outlaws abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected, cleared the Republican-controlled legislature. Doctors say a fetal heartbeat can be detected using transvaginal ultrasound technology as early as 5 weeks into pregnancy before many women know they are pregnant. Even before the bill was signed, the ACLU of Ohio said it was preparing a constitutional challenge to the law on behalf of Preterm Cleveland and 3 other Ohio abortion clinics. The legal challenge is what the bill's backers have always wanted, and that's why states are doing this, because they want to overturn Roe versus Wade. And now that they've got a stacked Supreme Court in favor of conservatives,
matter of time.
It is. You're not outlawing abortion by doing that. You're making healthy abortions not possible, because women will still get abortions. They'll coat hangers, salt, lie, whatever. Because that's what happened prior to Roe versus Wade. Women died in alleys. Is that what you want to have happen again?
They do in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas, they're ready to institute the death penalty for anybody that gets an abortion.
That could put women to death for having abortions. You know, they're these theocrats, these people who are from the Christian agenda, they're down on Fulton Street protesting on Fridays. That's right, today.
Yeah.
They bring them in from all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
This is their cause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pro-fetus. They're not pro-life. We talked off air. Tennessee, which is considering one of these bills, just cut aid to how many children?
Well, the story I have is it's gone by one house. They passed the Heartbeat Amendment as nickname, and a week early they kicked 128,000 of the poorest segment of our population, children, poor children, off of Medicaid.
Yep.
128,000. That's a football stadium in Michigan. Kids, there's 100,000 you put down in the big house, and 28,000 more kids on the parking lot. Just taken off of Medicaid.
Yep.
And like Carlin used to say, we're worried about them in the fetus, man. We're out there championing those kids. But then they're on their own until they're old enough to go fight in some war for an oil company and blow their butt off.
Yeah, I have this story. This is by Madeline Agler at thecut.com. Ohio has become the 5th state to ban abortion at 6 weeks. A so-called fetal heartbeat bill, which outlaws abortion before most women even realize they're pregnant, passed the state legislature Wednesday morning. Newly elected Governor Mike DeWine signed it the next day. Ohio joins 4 other states that have passed similar 6-week abortion bans. They are Mississippi, Kentucky, which now it's illegal for you to have sex with animals, so anyway, Iowa, and North Dakota. In addition, Georgia passed a 6-week abortion ban back in March. Openly anti-abortion Governor Brian Kemp, who has voiced his support for the bill, has until May 10th to sign it. So that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for this to go to the courts. They're waiting for the ACLU to sue because they're hoping that Roe versus Wade's going to get overturned. You're not restricting access to abortion. You're restricting access to safe abortions.
Abortions will go on. Abortions won't stop.
No, they won't. They didn't back when abortion was illegal in most parts of the country. Yeah,
there's
this is
legislation.
Anti-woman. Once again, it's conservatives trying to legislate women's bodies because who knows, they're probably still pissed the women got the right to vote in 1920. I hate to say it, but that's the truth.
Well, the conservatives have always been against abortion, but this is a new breed. Mm-hmm. These are dominionist, okay? I mean, let's call it like it is. These people are hardcore fundamentalists that, like I said, they don't rest. Mm-hmm. You talk about some of the legislation that Betsy is behind. if you boil it all down, she is fulfilling a family desire, and that is to remove the public